Yellow or blue? Cheeseburger or salad? Start a business or get a job? Kill the boyfriend who cheated on me or move on with my life? Go to the gym or watch a movie? We make an average of 35,000 decisions a day, but are we truly taking the decisions or are they already predetermined? And in the end of the day, all we do is just worrying about them. Well, let's see. Welcome to another episode of my brand new series, The Mind. This is Antia Lazaro and you're watching The Laza Show, your source of inspiration to unleash the tiger within you and finally build the life and business you love. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit that bell button so that you get notified every time I post a new episode. Today, we are talking about free will versus determinism. Are we truly free to make choices? Are we the authors of our thoughts and actions? Could we really choose otherwise? In a previous episode, we talked about how 95% of our cognitive activities are beyond our conscious awareness, and that gives rise to the question of whether we actually have free will or not. And if our life is predetermined, then is it possible to change the future? But before we talk about that and understanding whether free will exists or not, we first need to understand what free will is. So to say that you have free will is to say that you could have done otherwise. You have the ability to make your own choices without the constraint of fate. Deciding who you like, what your favorite color is, what to eat, how to spend your time, your money, start a business, go on a diet, and so on and so forth. The truth is, all your choices and decisions, no matter how big or small, are always influenced by a lot of factors that you're not even aware of. Free will, as you have it in your mind, doesn't really exist. And in fact, what we call you doesn't even make any decisions. I'm going to first demonstrate that to you through a very famous experiment by the physiologist Benjamin Libet, which had been done a couple of times in a similar way, and then I will prove it to you through your own direct experience. Let's start with the experiment. Subjects were wired up on an fMRI and they had two different buttons in front of them, and they were asked to press one of the two buttons whenever they wanted while watching a special clock composed of random sequence of letters appearing on the screen. Now also they had to report which letter was visible at the moment they decided to press one of the two buttons. The results were actually quite shocking. They found evidence of brain activity initiating the movement seconds before the conscious decision was reported. In other words, this experiment shows that the conscious decisions didn't cause the movement because the brain activity bringing about the movement started before the subject decided to take the movement. It seems that our conscious decisions are more like a report of what is already happening rather than the cause of the action itself. Now, definitely, I'm not basing my claim of no free will merely on this experiment. You can definitely prove this through your direct experience. And now, okay, most of your thoughts are triggered by external stimuli, but even when you cut down everything, the external stimuli, and close your eyes, do it now. Can you control your thoughts? Can you stop your thoughts? Do you know what is going to be your next thought? You cannot know what you're going to think next. That is a fact. It's not you that creates your thoughts. A thought appears in our consciousness out of nowhere, which means that you cannot control your thoughts. They just occur to you, which automatically means that you have no free will because you can't control them. And you can take it even deeper than that. Who are you truly? See, you are not one unit. You are a collection of things that produce an output, which we call you, and this is who we attribute free will to. So when I decide to have a salad over a pizza, then who makes the decision? Well, it's a 37 trillion cells in your body, making a collective decision which then appears in your consciousness and creates this illusion that you are in control. You are literally no different than any other part of nature. So let's take, for example, water. What is water? Water is a substance made of atoms combined in a very specific order, and when that is in a room temperature, you get something liquid, which we call water. Now, if you change the environment of this exact same substance, and if you expose it to, let's say, 0 Celsius degrees, it's gonna turn into ice. If you put it above room temperature, you will get gas. Essentially, this is what humans are, only that we are a more sophisticated creation than simply water. So basically, you are a composition of trillions of cells that themselves are made of a composition of other units organized in a very, very high order. When you take a decision, every single cell of your body contributes to this decision. It's not an individual unit. What we call the self, you, that chooses something over something else. Every single cell influences a decision which has been influenced by what these cells have been exposed to since they've been combined, since you were born. Bottom line is that what we call you is merely the output, the final product that emerged as a result of being exposed to the specific life experience you've had, including your upbringing, culture, people, politics, society, education, loss of nature, and so on and so forth. These are ultimately the causes that have an effect in the present moment, and that will continue to have the same effect unless something changes. So I hope that by this point you start realizing that there is no one to take a decision in the first place. The choice between 2 or more options is determined. There is no one person who makes this choice. How I interpret it, it's just like a chemical reaction. Based off of everything you go through life, your mind sets preferences and takes decisions. Always based off of the previous causes, you have an effect. Where is exactly the free will if you did not create your neurophysiology that gives rise to your next thought and intention? If you didn't choose your parents, you didn't choose who you want to go to school with, your teachers, where you were born, and so on. So wait a minute, if I have no free will and everything is sort of predetermined by everything I've experienced in my life and my genes, then why should I care? Well, watch out here, because it's a big trap. When people realize that there is no free will, they interpret it in a very negative way, because they think that the illusion of free will is necessary. But that couldn't be further from the truth. You probably right now feel like you're a puppet and that is controlled by some mystical source, and that gets you depressed, feeling like, what is the point of even trying? But what we're saying here is not that you haven't got choices. Your life doesn't change. You will still have to make choices. It just means that your choices are heavily influenced by a lot of factors that you're not even aware of. And then you might be thinking, why choose to start a business? Why choose to become better? Why choose to lose weight? And why even try to make these things happen? If I'm determined to do that, then this will happen. Well, you are not choosing any of that in the first place anyway. You can even just sit on your couch for the rest of your life, do nothing. But you'll soon feel the impulse to get up and do something. Now, if the desire to do any of this occurs to you, even if you don't know where this desire arises from, the 3 trillion cells that you're made of, they need to do the work to get the specific outcome. You can't just sit back and say, if I'm meant to lose weight, I will. But whether you do it or not, it is your mind and body that will take the decision. The next question is, well, can I change my life if there's no free will? Of course you can change your life. When you come to this realization, you can say, now that I know that the decision I take now, my current experiences, the external influences I have, all these current causes will have an effect in the future, I can choose to expose myself to a different environment that will facilitate change, that will create now new experiences, that will ultimately reprogram my system and get it to produce a different outcome. Only this time you will have no anger and no frustration when things go wrong. The difficult decision you were supposed to take is not going to be that difficult anymore. You will totally surrender and trust the process. You will stop beating yourself for your choices, and there will be no suffering anymore because you have no control, and you don't even need to claim control. You can still enjoy all the goodies in life, but you're not disappointed when you fail because you know that this failure is the output of a collection of things that you had no control of. When you do that, you are in flow with life. You are in line with nature, and everything magically falls in place. There is no internal conflict. Your ego is not keeping you away from your true nature anymore, and you're simply in flow. So to sum up, even though you have no free will, there is still possibility to change the future outcome if you are exposed to different causes in the present moment that will have a different effect from the one that you're currently getting in the future. The future is not written yet, but it is determined by what happens now. So if you want to change, you have to tap into the present moment. Nevertheless, even if it's not you taking the decisions, you will still keep feeling that you are making the decisions in the future throughout your life. And so in my next episode, we are talking about the psychology of decision making and the cognitive biases that our brains are limited by. Now, I want to hear from you. Write below in the comments. What is your view on this topic? Free will versus determinism. I'd love to get the conversation started. And also, if you want more advice on how to build the life and business you love, then definitely head over to anthealazari.com, my blog, where I share useful insights, tips, and tricks to inspire you to become the best version of yourself and live your best life. Also, if you like this episode, hit the like button and be sure to subscribe so that you never miss another episode. And also, share with someone you love and you want to help. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.